simple answer to that. No doctor, no person, no one can tell you, oh, you'll be healed in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And you don't know what to expect. This year was the most challenging, the most difficult. I got these terrible injuries, the house, the fires, so many things that are trying to knock me off my feet. It's either going to make you or break you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of King's World. Okay, so we've got a rhythm going. You guys know how I do this. I usually start out with an intro and then we go through a topic and I finish off with my 3 questions. But I've also been promising you guys something and I'm going to make my promise come true. I got a special guest today and he's we had Amin on, so Amin was the original. So this guy is the second one in line, but in all honesty, he's number 1 to me. He's my Mama Luke brother. He is the voice of bodybuilding. And I'm telling you guys this right now, you should be thanking your Buster Britches that this guy has a word and say of what happens in the NPC and the IFBB right now, because he's a true OG. He's been around and he's keeping things regulated. So when he goes to these meetings and he talks to our president, Mr. Jim Manion, and he talks to Steve Weinberger and Sandy Rinaldi, all the top guns of our industry, this guy just brings in what he has to bring in as from the athlete's point of view, and he keeps us regulated. He keeps the sport going in the right direction. And he's been there with me since day one. We've gone through hell and back together. As a matter of fact, we have an Apollo and Rocky story where we passed on my posing trunks. I passed down to him, and then he won, and he got his pro card, and it's an amazing story, which we'll get into one day. He is my Mama Luke brother, the one, the only, Mr. Bob Chick Ciccarello. Boom. Okay, folks, we're a little over 5 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. Bob is a very, very, very busy man right now. He's coordinating, he's emceeing. There's a lot of things that he needs to do. So we're going to go through these questions. It's going to be rapid fire. I'm going to shoot the question. He's going to come back with his answer. And our first question is to Bob. Bob, Ronnie Coleman, 100%. Phil Heath, 100%. Who wins?
All right, bottom line is this. Ronnie at his best, which is pick a year, 98 or 2001. Phil Heath at his best. I got to go with Ronnie Coleman at the end of the day because of the freak factor. He's so much wider than Phil that probably would have been the one part that does get exposed. But I tell you what, it ain't by much. And
it'd be close. Yes, I admit
Phil
that.
Heath was stupid good when he was at his best.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be close. All right, so we're going to settle that. We both picked Ronnie. All right, so we kind of went over this a little bit, but I'm going to go over it again. The bucktooth jackasses. Now, a lot of the kids might not know what exactly we're talking about. Bob and I pretty much started the whole internet, getting out there and talking to people. And then, of course, the haters came out, and they just, no matter what we did, even if we cured cancer, they would come out and they would say something bad about us. So me and Bob just got to a point where we said, you know what? Let's just call them out. Let's just call them out and see what happens. And in 10 years of us doing what we did, we told them exactly where we're going to be. We will be at this booth on this day from 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock. Please show up and say it to our face. Bob, did one person in 10 years show up?
No, man, we were 0 for 100. I mean, not one person.
Not one.
Showed up. And the one time I did see somebody, this guy came up, I was at the firehouse. And this guy comes up and he introduces himself. And I can't remember his screen name, but he introduces himself as whatever his screen name. And he was like one of those perennials, guys that was always throwing out there. Bro, when I tell you, this guy, I literally looked at him and started laughing. And I go, you got to be And he was 170 pounds, this old balding guy that it's like, you got to be kidding. You're him? Like, you're the guy. I've been going back and forth. It kind of really put everything in perspective. But no, listen, everybody's a tough guy on the internet. It's like when you're driving in traffic, bro. Everybody's a tough guy in your car until you get out, and then they're like, oh, Yeah, okay. It's like, yeah, it's a lot more, you can talk a whole bunch of when you're not face to face, but no, listen, we gave open platform to anybody came up, and most of them, when they came up within a 5-minute conversation, ended up loving us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole reason why I even brought that up is because now you have these internet trolls, and they'll come out and they'll say that everybody has their opinion now. Everyone thinks they're. I mean, for sakes, I did a show. Everyone is a coach. I just competed in a local show, got 8th place. I'm a coach.
Oh yeah, well,
I'm a
that's
coach
whole
now.
other-
That's what I am. I'm a coach. And I see the backstage, and I'm backstage, and I'm listening to these people give advice, and it's astonishing to me that.
Well, that's what the power of social media. The other thing
Wow.
that's become prevalent is the conspiracy theorists. It's always been around, but it's gotten to a point of absolute ridiculousness. Me and Jim Manuel were just laughing about this the other day. So at the Olympia last year, right?
Right.
We're down to the wire, right? I called both guys out to the front as I always do. Okay, in Olympia tradition, if I can have, Sean Roden and Phil Heath and
I know exactly what you're going to say right now. Say
Right.
it. Say it.
And they come out and they stand there, and Jim comes out, and the presenters come out. And at some point, I'm going through my thing, ladies and gentlemen, history will be made here today, and I'm dragging it out, of course, and having some fun. And Jim's up there dying because that Sandow weighs 1,000,000 pounds, but so at some point, all right, Jim recognizes up there that the presenter was on the other side. Like he wanted to switch to the other side because he wanted to be able to get to whoever's going to win, right?
Right.
Now, I know who's going to win at this point. Jim knows who's going to win at this point. Nobody else knows, okay? Other than the scorekeeper. Even the judges don't know at that point.
Right.
So here's the funny part, right? After the show was over, okay, and new Mr. Okay, the place goes nuts. History made. Sean Roden wins, whether you agreed or disagreed, whatever, okay?
Right.
After the show, somebody's out online with one of those podcasts or shows. They had this whole thing concocted that they were going to give it to Phil, but at the last second, if you notice, the guy holding the Sandow, that's how he refers to Jim Mannion, by the way.
Right.
The guy holding the Sandow switches sides, and that gave me the signal that we were going to... Bro, I'm waiting for Jim to touch his nose and give me some... some
Tug on his ear.
Yeah, I don't know whether he wants me to steal second base or give out the award. You know what I mean? But this guy surmised in his warped mind that this was going on the... Are you insane?
Yeah.
Like, you actually think that I'm looking for Jim on the spot as I'm getting ready to make the big announcement of who's going to win? Like, we got some kind of code or... Yeah, you can see right there. They switch spots, and that guy goes behind Roden, and the other guy goes behind. It's like, oh my God! Like,
which you're leading me directly to my next question in line, which is, of course, as a Mama Luke brother, you read my mind. My next question leads right into it. Did Sean Roden beat Phil Heath, or did Phil Heath beat himself?
Yeah, Sean Roden did not win the Olympia. Phil Heath lost it.
Say that one more time, please.
All right. Sean Roden did not win the 2018 Olympia.
Yes.
Okay? Phil Heath lost the show.
Yes.
Big difference.
Huge difference. And if you ask all the top professional bodybuilders on stage that night competing, they will all say the same exact thing.
Yeah,
that
because ain't no
if you
bodybuilder.
go pose for pose, I think Dexter just said this on an interview. If you break down pose for pose, Phil Heath wins easily, but it's the total package. It's the wave. It's the stars lining up it was just a freak night of everything happening in Sean's favor.
Well, listen, Sean hits it dead on the money. Now, I've never been a big Sean Roden fan, okay, even before all this allegations and things, and that's a whole other thing. But I've never been a big fan of his physique because I look at physiques as a whole. Sean Roden is Milos, okay? Great thighs, great abs. Arms, a little weak. Back, a little weak. Chest, non-existent.
Right.
Okay? I don't think you could be missing that many things. This is why he's never even got a point off of Phil Heath and all. He's never gotten 1 point
Right.
off of Phil Heath. And all the years they've been competing, going heads up against each other, he's had a harder time actually taking second place. All right? He's not as dominant as like Kai Green was. That type of-
Right.
So if you're looking at him heads up, okay, Phil Heath crushes Roden every year. Not even close. 1-2, or Phil or Roden's fighting for third or fourth or fifth or that type of thing. Now, again, I keep things in perspective. Okay, we're nitpicking. It's the Olympia, though. Okay, so we're allowed to nitpick. This is the best in the world.
Correct.
So Sean Roden is weak up top to me. Like I say, world class thighs, world class abs. But then he's missing out. And even the abs, you can make a case, bro, because even though he's got a small waist, even Roden is fighting some distension the other year,
Which we'll get into.
yeah. So here's where the problem comes. Now, I still really had, if I had to pick one last year, I had Phil winning still. Now, even though Phil wasn't at his best, but you're right. The midsection, if his midsection is 10% better last year, he wins again. All right? It's only because it's the second year in a row that was an issue, that the judges could not overlook it. First year, I think they gave him some consideration. He was still the champ. He was still beating everybody by miles from behind and all that stuff.
Right.
Second year in a row, and like I say, the ads weren't any better, man. They needed to be better.
So now,
They were
let me
actually
stop
the
you
same.
right there so we can, let's make this an educational thing real quick too, before we move on to the next one. Please, Bob, explain, and I will help you with this explanation. Explain to the kids and the fans out there why the midsection is so important. Because people will sit there and say, oh, that's just one body part, and whenever I hear that, I want to get a hammer and start hitting myself in the head, because people don't understand that everything, it's the middle. Okay, I'm going to let you explain it. Explain why the midsections
This is bodybuilding 101, kids, all right? So
Listen.
get a pencil.
Please
write
listen,
this
folks.
down, okay? Every pose that we do, so we all, he won this pose, this guy won that pose, I got it 4-3, all right, blah, 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 blah. Every pose in bodybuilding, every mandatory pose, okay, is like when you had a front double bicep shot, that's what it's called, okay? You're not looking at just the biceps. You're looking at the entire physique.
correct.
Front lat spread, same thing. You're not looking at the lats, you're looking at the whole physique. Side chest. You're not just looking at the chest, you're looking at the whole physique.
Correct.
All they are is 8 poses that are designed for you to get a look at the body in its entirety.
In every
Okay.
angle.
Yeah, so when you say, well, he beat him in this pose, he beat him in that pose, well, listen, Phil's chest is miles above in front of Roden's, but does he win the side chest? Well, you can make that argument because his belly is out. All right, so it doesn't look like a good pose because that's distracting. Front double bi, it's distracting.
Which
All right, it's
goes to
distracting in every
exactly
pose.
what you just said a couple minutes ago when you said you asked Ronnie Coleman,
Correct.
which Ronnie Coleman did you like the best? He said 98. Why? Because he had no waist. His
Well,
stomach
he
was flat.
147 He's 147 pounds. He's,
247.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 247 pounds. All right, it's the leanest he was ever. His midsection was tight, and he even likes his physique. I've asked the same question to everybody. Tom Prince years ago. Tom, which physique did you always like the best? He says, when I won the Nationals.
I was about to say that myself. That was Tom's
right
best
down the
physique.
line. I mean, listen, it's always probably our best. Listen, what I did very well at the night of the champions. Did I like that physique better? No, I actually liked my USA body better. You know what I mean? But now that said, every pose that they do, okay, you see the only poses that you don't see the midsection are the back poses, which he
Correct.
absolutely crushes Roden.
Yes,
Now,
he did.
Now, we've all heard the expression, well, yeah, but shows are one from the back. No, shows are not one from the back. It's just a saying that we use, and I throw out there and shit. Shows are one from the back. The
Well,
sides,
explain
the
why
front.
people say shows went from the back. Because when you
Well,
have a
because-
lineup of 1997 Olympia, 1996, when you have Dorian Yates, Sean Ray, Nasser El Somebody, Kevin Levrone, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, you're nitpicking the best in the world. You're like, okay. Then when they turn around, because of all the muscle, all the glute, everything back there is so muscular, then you say, okay, Dorian is
Right.
above everyone else. That's where he gets the edge. Sean Ray, better condition, more symmetry, all this stuff. But it goes back to one word, muscularity.
Muscularity. And the bottom line is the reason why, quote, shows are one from the back is for 99% of the bodybuilders out there, the last place to come in is the glutes. Glutes and hamstrings. Okay, your body gets ready from the outsides in. All right, so the last thing to come in usually is your midsection, your glutes, all that area. Everybody at that pro level looks good from the front. Everybody on that stage won something. Everybody won a world championship. Everybody won a USA, a nationals, or whatever. They all earned the right to be there. What separates the best from the best is when you turn around, and obviously if you got conditioning from the back, you got conditioning from the front. All right, so that's where it comes from, but it's not indicative of who wins, or Phil Heath would have won this easily last year. The front double bi, the front lat, the side chest, the side tri, the front abdominal, of course. these were very difficult shots to give the nod to Phil because you couldn't take your eyes off the midsection.
Right.
There's no pipeline to the commentators or the judges. So I mean, you're right.
No, I'm saying because that's exactly what the judges are thinking. That's my point right there. What Sean Ray was saying, he kept saying, yeah, Phil looks great, but his stomach. That's exactly what Weinberger is saying. He's like, and I guarantee you, Steve and the rest of the judges were sitting there back in their head saying, Phil, flex your stomach. Phil, flex your stomach. And it was hard because of issues and medical issues and all that stuff.
Once again, for the conspiracy theorists, do you think, and because we saw all the stuff after, wow, they needed to break it up because they had the same guy winning over and over. It's the same thing. Look at you. The judges didn't want to give this to Roden for any good reason. For what possible reason? Listen, you got a guy going to tie history here with number 8. All right, you got a guy who's arguably been the better part of the decade, the champion, and it feels very complete. He's a good champ, and all that kind of stuff. Listen, you think the judges actually get together and figure out like all these other wacky things of, well, he doesn't speak very well, and they'll never give it to Ram. He doesn't speak English that good.
Right.
Nobody cares, okay? They're looking at a physique, but you're right. They looked and they went, oh man, only he would keep the waistline tighter,
Yeah, but you forget, Chick. Bader Budai gave $1 million to Mannion for Ramy to win. Remember that one?
Well, listen, Bader is not only a good friend of mine, but he's obviously a very big contributor to the sport. I'll tell you what, that was the worst business proposition in history. If that happened.
The conspiracy theorists are losing their minds. Oh, man.
You need to get $750,000 back, man. So,
all right. Let's go to the next one.
Bottom line is that closes the door on that. There's no conspiracy. Listen, like I say, if Phil was 10% better in the midsection, he wins again easily. He's got number 8, and he's going for history with number 9 this year. True. That's what would have been going on.
Yeah, true. Okay, so there's the Phil Heath and Sean Roden question. What's with the spongy physiques?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob's.
One word.
Do you attribute that to pure insulin and peptides? Is that what you? Okay, all right. That's all. We're just going to leave it at that. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to go into it because then